Good afternoon and welcome to the Gator Wesley Bio. Today on the show we have Narcy. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Narcy Jeter. I am the new director at Gator Wesley. And I am very glad to be here. I'm excited about this new opportunity and being a part of this ministry with so many different aspects of the ministry and so many students that are involved in a lot of very amazing servant ways. It's been really good to be a part of this place and to get to know each person and kind of see how things are here at Gator Wesley. My husband, Mike, and I have been married for 10 years. We have 2 children, Enoch, who is 5. He just turned 5 in June, and Evie, who is 3, and he'll be 4 in November. And so we have been on a crazy, interesting journey since meeting each other in college. And since then, we've been doing this whole ministry thing together. Mike was an elementary music teacher for a while and then wrote children's music for a company and then has been involved with a lot of church music, both traditional music and non-traditional music, youth choirs and all kinds of stuff. And so we are both very happy to be here in Gainesville.
So where exactly are you from?
I am originally from South Carolina. My dad is a Methodist pastor, and so we moved all over the place as a child, but primarily in the PD area. And so if you're from South Carolina, you kind of know where that is. It's about an hour and a half away from the beach. But in my senior year of high school, we moved to Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is in the upcountry of South Carolina, near Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's where we've been kind of ever since, except for my 4 years in Atlanta at Emory.
So can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with your mother and father?
Yeah, my mother is an elementary guidance counselor. She stayed at home with the 3 of us. I'm the oldest of 3 children until my youngest brother went to kindergarten, and then she went back to get her master's in guidance counseling. My dad, like I said, is a United Methodist pastor and kind of has had a range of experience. Started off in a 3-point charge, so 3 little churches in the middle of Sherrall, South Carolina. And each of the 3 children were baptized at a different church. And so it really was kind of a family ministry. Then served some other churches in rural communities, as well as churches that are more downtown churches and university settings. My relationship with them is that we are very, very close. We are a very close-knit family. A lot of my sermons, a lot of the blogs that I write, a lot of the stories that I tell have to do with my family, because we are a very, very close family in terms of my brothers, my sister-in-law, my niece, all kinds of stuff. We are a very tight family.
And you mentioned that you were a pastor's kid, correct?
Yep.
Can you dwell in on a little bit and how was it like growing up as your father being a pastor?
Right. I would say that in class, when people would ask what my favorite meal was, a lot of the times I would say a covered dish dinner or something at the church where, everybody brings their favorite dessert and you get fried chicken and ham and all kinds of stuff. And so we really did grow up in the church. My mom sang in the choir and did the children's music. My parents led a lot of the youth. And so everything we did kind of revolved around church. My parents did really give us the freedom as teenagers and especially in college to kind of choose our faith for ourselves and really explore things, which I have always found to be something that was really important and beneficial, and I'm really glad that they gave us the freedom to do that. In terms of being a preacher's kid, we have, a lot of different stories. Friends would come home and talk about their mother or father who was a doctor or a lawyer or who worked at the gas station or was a police officer. And we would talk about preacher stories, which had to do with people being in the hospital or sick, or dad having to do a funeral, or, going to visit someone in a nursing home or that kind of thing. But it was really good in terms of seeing a lot of different people and meeting a lot of different people, getting to know a lot of different communities and how different people work and play and grow and how people order their faith and how important their church community is, both in the really good times and the day-to-day, but also in the crisis times and the times when things are really tough.
And you mentioned you have some brothers and sisters, correct?
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers. Josh, I am 32. Josh is 30, which is awesome that he turned 30 this year. I probably celebrated more than anyone because he's now old, according to me, primarily because he doesn't want to be old and he always wants to still be that lovely younger brother. And then my youngest brother is Caleb and he's 29. So Josh and I are 2 years apart and Caleb and I are 3 years apart.
What kind of relationship did you have when you were growing up?
When we were growing up, we probably didn't have as good of a relationship as we have now. It was usually 2 against 1. So the boys against me, and that's not a terrible deal. They would probably say that I tortured them in many ways. could be until they've now grown past me, and so they're now bigger than I am. And so yeah, we're still very close. One of my brothers lives in Columbia, where my parents are, and the other brother lived in Rock Hill, where we lived, and now has moved to Columbia. And so Josh, my middle brother, lived with us for a semester when he was in college, and then for a year and a half when he graduated from college. And so we're very close to him and his family.
So what kind of education did you have when you were growing up?
I had a pretty traditional education. We grew up going to different schools in South Carolina, different public schools. And then I moved my senior year of high school, and so I went from a very small 800-person school to a 2,400-person school in high school. And so I had a large graduating class. I then decided to go to Winthrop University. In South Carolina, it is one of the major teaching colleges, and so it's very well known for its education background. I've always wanted to be a high school English teacher, and so that's what I went to college for. And so I went to Winthrop University, got my Bachelor of Arts in English with minors in social sciences and education. Again, ready to be a high school English teacher. And then towards my junior year of college, decided to answer the call to ministry through a lot of different experiences in campus ministry and stuff like that, and then went on to get my Master of Divinity at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I really enjoyed my experience at Emory. It was a different experience. It was a lot of an interesting community of different ideas and different people and different ways of life. I really enjoyed my experience then working in Emory's religious life and working as the campus minister at Emory's Wesley Fellowship, because it really did bring together a lot of the things that I love. Being able to preach and worship in university worship, while also being able to be a part of a graduate student ministry that was a ministry of hospitality and presence, and it was an interreligious ministry, as well as then being the United Methodist campus minister. It was a little bit crazy to do all three things, but it was something that was really important for me in figuring out, what I wanted to do and have all these different experiences and ways to learn more about me and more about our faith, but also more about how to do ministry with a wide variety of people.
Can you explain a little bit about your experience working with campus ministries?
Yeah, when I was in college, we did a lot of different campus ministry events. Primarily, a lot of the ones focusing on social justice were really important to me. We did a lot of things with hunger and a lot of things with homelessness. We would do 24-hour homeless simulations and sleep out. We would, do Oxfam fasts and raise money for homelessness and hunger. It was kind of a big piece of our campus ministry to really focus on these issues and focus on people that were, struggling in a lot of different ways. I actually met my husband at one of the ministries where we worked. It was called Tuesday's Child, and it was an after-school ministry for homeless and at-risk kids. And so right behind the Wesley Foundation at the time, there was a women's shelter. And so there was all these kids that were always playing in the backyard. And so the director, many years ago, Richard Brabham, decided to come up with this idea where he would provide tutors from the Winthrop Wesley Foundation, so that the tutors could then take these children that were back in the backyard playing and actually try to make sure that they were getting any help that they might need in their studies. And so it really was a ministry where the students of the campus ministry could really interact with these kids and kind of put our education background to good use, but also really reach out to a population that really needed our help. And so Mike and I met during the time as co-student coordinators, and then he later was the director of this ministry.
And as a lot of our viewers do know, you do have children, correct?
Yep, we have two kids, Enoch and Evie. Enoch was actually born my first year of ministry at Winthrop. He was born June after that first year. And so for my first year at Winthrop, they experienced me as pregnant almost the entire time. So that was an interesting year. The students had a lot of different questions about pregnancy and what does this mean and about kids. And so it was a lot of fun. And then Evie was born in November of 2008. And so, again, a lot of questions. It's been nice having the kids be a part of our ministry. Having the kids get to know the students and get to run around and see how church works. It's been nice for them to see both mommy and daddy working in churches in different ways. And so, yeah, they're definitely not your necessarily typical preacher's kids because we don't work in a typical traditional church. But it's been great for them to kind of explore the love of community and the fellowship of people here.
So what exactly prompted you to leave Winthrop Wesley and also choose to come to the state of Florida and specifically Gator Wesley?
Yeah, kind of an interesting story and an interesting process. David Fuquay and I, the director that had been here, are pretty good friends, and we had kept in contact about different campus ministry things. Him and Vance Raines, the director at Florida State Wesley, had come to South Carolina in October to do a presentation for us about campus ministry here in Florida. We in South Carolina have been working for a while on a strategic plan for campus ministry, as well as just visioning something new for where we are as a conference. And so having them come in was a wonderful resource and a wonderful time of learning. While they were there, they kept mentioning that there was all these different campus ministry openings in Florida. And I have to admit that for the whole fall semester, I had no intention, no plan, no anything of thinking about applying for any of these positions. Primarily because I am from South Carolina, and South Carolina is my conference, and it's where my heart is in a lot of ways. It's where I was formed as a preacher's kid. It was where I was formed as a college student. It's where I was formed as someone growing up in that community, and it's where I've been formed in the ordination process as well. And so it's a big part of who I am. But there was all these different things happening and falling in place where, for the first time in a while, my husband and I thought, maybe it's time for something different. Maybe it's time for a new direction and a new challenge and a new part of the journey. And so we started very much prayerfully thinking about that, thinking about some of these openings and other openings, thinking about, what does this mean for our family, and where does this mean that we go, and how are we open to God's calling in that. And so very, very randomly, I applied on the very last day that the applications were supposed to be due. And I kind of sent it up as a toss-up and a prayer to say, okay, God, if you want me to go to Florida, I hope that you make it very crystal clear, because it's going to be hard to leave where I am, and it's going to be hard to leave a place that I love so much. But I am also ready and open and willing to answer your call and answer, kind of where you are leading in terms of the next part of where we should be. And so it's been good. It's been nice to embrace the challenge. It's been nice to embrace a new setting. I had done the very much religious institution in a smaller public school, and so I was kind of ready for a different setting, a different place in a large public school, and so see where it goes.
So now that you're here, what are your main goals for the future of the Gateway Wesley Foundation going forward?
I have been really, really, really excited to talk to students. I have been thrilled with all of their different ideas and their different ways to give input. I am blown away by all the energy that they have and the excitement they have for this ministry. I am completely pumped up to see what happens in August, and I am really excited about all the different plans and preparations that we're doing right now to get ready for that. It's been nice to kind of have a soft opening in some ways with Summer B, getting to know some new freshmen, getting to know some of the students this summer, really kind of building some of those relationships already. But I'm also excited about the fall and ready to see what this campus really looks like when all the people are here, and to see what one of these crazy Saturdays in football land is all about, since that sounds like it's such a big deal. I'm just excited about where this ministry is going, not just in my direction or my vision, but where the students are going and where we see all of us together as Gator Wesley's next step. I think there are so many different ways of potential and growth and ways that people can really kind of take that next step and go to that next level. And I think that David has led this place, and Dan has led this place, and the students have led this place to be really on a precipice of something big and something, that has nothing to do with one individual person, but has everything to do with God's movement on this campus. And so I'm excited about where that could be.
And we're getting to the end of our show today, and we want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, you're welcome.
And with the last few moments, is there anything that you would like people to know about you that they should know or don't already know about you?
I have no idea what to say at that point, except to say I generally love people, and I love talking to people. And so I would definitely offer that anytime anybody has a question or they want to know something, please do ask. I would much rather somebody ask me a question than to wonder and think, I wonder if, or what if. So please do make sure that, if you have a question or heard something in the sermon that you don't agree with, or you have a suggestion for how we do Bible study or small groups or intramurals, that you do please let us know. Because I want this place to be a ministry not just about one person's vision, but of all of our vision together. And that we are all in this together, that we are a community of faith here at Gator Wesley. So I'm excited about that.
And again, we want to thank you for coming on.
You are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And this has been the Gator Wesley Bios, produced by James Jordan and produced on location at the Gator Wesley Foundation, which is a campus ministry of the United Methodist Church that services the University of Florida and Santa Fe College. Tune in next time when we have more stories, more people, and more Gator Wesley Bios. Thank you and good day.